Forward 1. You're running out of time. Party camera is nearly powered up.
Take out the APU dancers as soon as possible. If the dropship gets powered up, it'll bring its main guns online. Omega left. We're getting cargo secured. As soon as we're ready to live, we need to get on board as quickly as possible. We're now tracking multiple targets inbound.
Got him on radar, Stroll. Moving to intercept.
Oh no! We're... Alright. Meters altitude. Telemetry indicates it's good again. Roger that, Control. We'll keep them off you.
This is the query. We're on him. Lead the way, sir. It's a pleasure to fight with you at last.
Omega lead, ejecting. Roger, Control. Omega, this is Control. We should lift off of the next dropship. Orders?
This is Forward 3. The gantries are retracting at Gamma launch site. They're at full power and counted down to lift. Salvage operation. This is Forward 1. You're running out of time. Party camera is nearly powered up.
Take out the APU dancers as soon as possible. If the dropship gets powered up, it'll bring its main guns online. Omega left. We're getting cargo secured. As soon as we're ready to live, we need to get on board as quickly as possible. We're now tracking multiple targets inbound.
Got him on radar, Stroll. Moving to intercept.
Oh no! We're... Alright.
Attention to the paper doll. Make sure you guys are shooting the correct legs. Be careful of the collisions. I don't want to hear complaints about it. Work around it. Let's play this game.
I need another heavy. I've got TB and a quick draw.
I want to get fairly tight to it. Now, anybody who's going to be working range, I'm going to need you to fade right on this. And when anybody's running short, is going to stay towards the top of the caldera if we're going to come at them.
I have you in the Griff. Griffin.
Sounds good.
Well, that's the thing. We got to get to brawling range, so I may be moving us, right up to the hoop if we have to.
Wolverine nach Charlie 4.
It's fine, chill the f*** out, man. It's fine, it's just a 5-starter.
Kommt, Leute, redet miteinander.
15 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't die.
Guys,
15 seconds, don't die.
Guys. 3, 2, 1.
Charlie Dar, CT, yellow. Okay, go to Charlie, see if we can get it.
There. To your left, is there. Sorry,
So, jetzt gleich hinter die Indie-Pocken,
Mediums be prepared to pull back E40 towards the E5 border. On my mark.
Left side, come on! Like now, I need strikes on empty barrel. Wire are strikes up.
Die Hauptgruppe rechts, Uferlinie.
They have 3 mechs sitting on the left side when you pass over.
Overheating is bad.
Both legs on the Griffin. Get the Griffin!
Sorry about that. That was such a
That's right. I'm gonna spawn Lance, you guys in Charlie, Lance, you guys in Bravo. That's B2C1.
This third drop is 2 lights, 2 mediums, 2 heavies, 2 assaults.
Jetzt in die Breite ziehen, zieht euch in die Breite.
Lights, watch our backs. We're gonna about base and take up position in Bravo 6.
Ja, kurz Aufschaltung Delta 4, 3 Stück, 2 Mediums einleiten, wie ich das richtig gesehen habe.
Make a firing line.
C4 Tactical Hill, boys.
Fox.
Laufen unter ECM, hab 2 durchlaufen, 10 Bravo 4.
And get ready to hit people coming from our right.
Charlie on the left, Charlie, a Hellbringer on the left.
Okay, let's group up towards the left. We're gonna press through Bravo 3 to Bravo 4. I think they're kind of spread out. Check yourselves, make sure you've got, UAV cool shot. Here they come, they're pushing hard, guys.
Eco. Tez on.
Go. Oh, got a contact here, Bravo 3.
Nice, Marshall. I'm on Delta Griffin.
We'll get cross it then. Get in their face. They got a highlighter. They just pushed up on Theta. We need help on Theta. Up on Theta.
Yep, that's the noise. Go. Let's finish this.
Full pressure, guys. Full pressure. They're down low. They're down low in Charlie 3. Get the f***ing arm, Jackson.
Jackson, cool shot.
Golf. I got him.
Go, P3, go.
Echo, go.
Get over on your medium, guys. Get Echo Stormcrow.
God, I suck as a pilot, but thank I packed my skill. I'm sorry that you died, sweet girls, but we will send a reasonably nice letter to your family.
Meters altitude. Telemetry indicates input eject.
Roger that, Control. We'll keep them off you. This is McQuarrie. We're on him. Lead the way, sir. It's a pleasure to fight with you at last.
Omega lead, ejecting.
Roger, Control.
Omega, this is Control. We should lift off of the second dropship. Orders?
This is Forward 3. The gantries are retracting at Gamma launch site. They're at full power and counting down to lift. Salvage operation. This is Forward 1. You're running out of time. Party Gamma is nearly powered up.
Take out the APU gantry as soon as possible. If the dropship gets powered up, it'll bring its main guns online. Omega left. We're getting cargo secured. As soon as we're ready to lift, we need to get on board as quickly as possible. Now tracking multiple targets inbound.
We've got them on radar, Control. Moving to intercept.
Oh no! We're... Alright. Meters altitude. Telemetry indicates input eject.
Roger that, Control. We'll keep them off you. This is McQuarrie. We're on him. Lead the way, sir. It's a pleasure to fight with you at last.
Omega lead, ejecting.
Roger, Control.
Omega, this is Control. We should lift off of the second dropship. Orders?
This is Forward 3. The gantries are retracting at Gamma launch site. They're at full power and counting down to lift.
Good evening, Mech Warriors, MRBC enthusiasts, and fans of Battletech. Welcome to another MRBCLeague.com shoutcast. Tonight, Season 9, North American Division B, Week 9, the Battle of the Beards. Marine Mechs the Cabal, led by Bandit B-17, versus Isengrim, led by Mech the Dane. Tonight, I will be your shoutcaster, El Switchblade, and joining me once again is my faithful companion, Batman22113.
Only 1-1 in that gamer tag there, Switch, but thank you for the introduction.
That's how important you are to me. You're an extra number one always to me.
Well, speaking of number ones and Batmans, if you wouldn't mind, I'd just like to give a quick shout out to the late Adam West, the original Batman from the 1960s animated, not the animated series, the live series, who passed away this weekend at the age of 88.
Yeah, may he rest in peace. Throw those bat signals up, guys. At Adam West, we would not be where we are today without Adam West. Quahog would be but a mole on a hill, if not for Mayor Adam West. So we have the Marine Mechs in lobby now. I've sent invites out to the Isengrim. We're waiting on them to accept. Let's talk about this. So MRBC League is the premier privately community-led, league within MechWarrior Online. We've had more teams sign up this season than any seasons past. We're currently in our 9th season. It is the place to play competitive MechWarrior Online. So check it out, MRBCLeague.com, and come and join us. On the screen, what you will see is the current standings for the North American Division B. In MRBC, we rank teams based upon reputation points. Each week, over the course of 10 weeks, it's a round robin. You play each team twice in a 6-team division. You will do 5 drops within each match. Each match has a maximum potential of 350 reputation points. An entire match, so each drop has 350, an entire match can come up to 1,750 reputation points. You score reputation points from getting kills, winning the drop, and securing the bonus. Each drop has a very specific bonus criteria, which we'll talk about as we progress through the drops. And there are fixtures, 5 different maps every time that you play, and you'll play each team twice, once on each side of the map. So you'll play Team 1 the first time you play the teams, and Team 2 the second time you play the teams. Without further ado, let's talk about the teams. Batman, did I miss anything about MRBC there? I think I got everything right.
I think you were pretty thorough, and I'm sure that any other details that we need to mention will come up during the course of the cast.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's talk about Team 1. So tonight, Team 1 is Marine Mechs the Cabal, led by Bandit B-17. Of course, the one of the official MRBC casters, the first official MRBC caster, as well as the casting team, him and the other guy, MDM0, did the World Championship casting. On the screen now, what you'll see is some statistics from that team after their first 6 weeks of play. They have played so far. They've actually played 7 matches, but we only have 6 weeks of statistics on the screen. So, Batman, what are some of the things that jump out at you in looking at these numbers?
Okay, well, when I look at these kinds of stats, the first thing I like to do is kind of tier the players off. Not, when you're talking about a team from a particular division, as a general rule, that team on average will be a higher caliber players than teams from a lower division. But even within those divisions, player performance will always be stratified. You're going to have your top performers and your bottom performers. So, you look at these numbers and you can see that they rely heavily on a couple players. Looks like Tommy the K and Bear Claw are their primary killers within the game. They have the highest kill-to-death ratios. Now, that's not the only way to contribute to the team, of course. 4 out of these 5 matches are played on the Conquest game mode, and so that means that even if you're not killing enemy mechs, you can still be contributing to your team winning. So looking at match score, at damage dealt, all of those things, they're all factored in. But what they have is, it looks like, I would say roughly 3 tiers of performance going on within their roster. You got the 2 at the top there with well above 2.0 KD, and then going down from there, you look at the next 4 to include Bandit and Kincaid. They're at least breaking even or doing a little bit better than that. I said the next 4, and then I counted the 5th down to Kincaid, but bear with me. And then just below that, you have the remainder of the roster who they're still contributing, but maybe having a little trouble with consistency. And so you've got, what is that? Net Tab and Ham 2-7. And so they've only played in 4 drops. So yeah, their KDs are a little low, but they haven't had the opportunity to get in there consistently and up those numbers either.
Yep, we've now had the second team join the lobby, so let's go ahead and jump over to the second team and talk about Team 2. Team 2, of course, tonight is the Isengram, led by Mech the Dane. Batman, what do you see on these numbers here?
Okay, so you kind of have a similar breakdown there, in terms of the numbers on their performances. But what you see is their averages are quite a bit higher, and I think that is reflected in the overall positioning of these teams within their divisions. I mean, Isengram is currently, after 7 matches on record, sitting in first place with a drop record of 28-7 across those 7 matches. The Marine Mechs, in contrast, also 7 matches played, 19-16. So they still have a positive record, but that performance isn't as strong. And when you look at these stats, you can kind of see a breakdown as to why. These players on the Isengren side appear to be just a little bit more efficient in terms of kill-to-death ratio and damage output. They have a few players that haven't gotten very many drops in, but if you look, most of the roster has played over 20 matches, which means they're probably using those same pilots almost all the time. And, teams that play together consistently tend to perform better as well.
So we just heard from the audience there. Apparently, when we launched this cam app that we're using, it screwed up the audio gains. So apologies for that, guys. It's going to be a little loud for a few minutes, and then it should adjust. So we will get that fixed and should be good to go here in a few minutes. We've got Team 1 sitting pretty much ready, Team 2 almost ready. One of the things that you talked about, Ben, that I just wanted to hit upon was the point about match score and damage. You've got guys that maybe don't have high kill-death ratios, but do have good scores and damage. So they're still in there doing work for their teams. And while we have these sort of by KD ratio, because kills are what sells, etc., it is important to note that these are teams full of really good players playing at some of the highest tier play in the game. So
I wholeheartedly agree with you, Switchblade. The sort filter that's being used is just what it is. It's not that big a deal. But like you said, and I'll just reiterate it one more time, everybody on these rosters contributes to the team's wins and losses. And, everybody comes out and does the best they can. We're expecting them to do just as much again this evening and looking forward to an exciting match between these 2 teams.
Absolutely. All right, so let's move in and let's talk about drop 1 here. So moving forward and talking about drop 1 tonight. Of course, drop 1 is the only drop that we do on the domination game mode. Drop 1 is titled Reconnaissance, and this is 4 lights, 4 mediums. The bonus criteria for this is to destroy 5 of the enemy mechs. There are, of course, no streak SRMs. You're allowed max 1 of any chassis and 1 duplicate across your team. Batman, what are some of the things that we might see on this map tonight from these teams? Of course, Isengram is a known brawling team. Marine Mechs has also been known to brawl in the past. What do you think is going to happen tonight?
Well, the great thing about the domination game mode, and one reason I would like to see it maybe played 2 matches out of the 5 in the future instead of just the 1, is it really requires the teams to commit to the middle of the map as opposed to just hanging out on the edges and poking at each other from long range. They got to get in close or they become irrelevant. Now looking at this match and quickly just having a glance at where the 2 teams seem to be deploying in terms of which lances they're filling in, what I think we're going to see is Team 1 is in Bravo and Charlie Lance, and they're going to come right through here. And I'm assuming they're just looking for the fastest route into the circle. I don't, sometimes you see teams, they'll come in here on the Fox side. I don't think we're going to see that from these guys. I think they're looking to just get in and get in the fight.
Well, we are crash and burn, so let's see how this unfolds here, Batman.
All right. Sorry, I had more comments for the map strat, but yeah,
no worries, man. We got both teams ready to go. We try to move at the team's pace. We don't want to take up too much time. We're all here to watch the teams play, and Batman and I do our best to keep the pace going here. So apologies if sometimes there's a few missteps. And again, I want to apologize for the volume issues at the beginning. We wanted to get Batman's face on camera. We switched to a new software because Skype wasn't doing it for us, and we ran into some issues. So as we were talking about, this is the Domination game mode, of course. In Domination, the objective is to move towards the center of the map where we have this green circular area around this sort of like this satellite-looking thing. And as Batman pointed out, both teams are going to progress to this point from the various sides of the maps. So let's talk about the mechs that each team are bringing in. So on the Marine mechs, we've got a Jenner 2C, a Wolfhound, Arctic Cheetah, a Jenner 7F, a Stormcrow, Hunchback 2C, and Double Novas. What do we have on the Isengrim side, Batman?
All right, Isengrim's pulling out a Hunchback 2C Alpha. That is the energy variant. a Kit Fox, Stormcrow, Jenner 2C Alpha, also an energy variant, Nova Prime, Wolfhound, Arctic Cheetah, and a second Nova. So they're running dual Novas for sure. That sounds like a brawl deck to me.
It does. It looks like we're going to have a couple of complementary brawl decks here. Maybe a little bit overwatching those Hunchback 2CAs, but not too much. So we've got both teams making their way towards the circle now. It looks like Marine Mechs Team 1 are going to make their way into the circle first and get that time advantage. They're moving up to the center of the map, the G7 Fox 7 hill here. While meanwhile, we've got Ice and Grim moving around the Space Needle Hill. They're not really progressing to the top of it. They're kind of moving around the crest of it, the upslope, if you will, on the southwest corner of it. Marine Mech's taking up some pretty good Overwatch positions here in the cities, in the buildings. Let's watch these strikes start coming out from both teams now as they set these positions. We've got both teams holding back and being a little bit, I don't want to say passive, but definitely not being yellow. And a strikeout here on Bear Claw. And that's a good hit. That's a 17% hit on Bear Claw. Probably did significant damage to his arms, though. He's got smoke coming out of his mech at this point.
I think...
Go ahead.
I think each team, what they were trying to do is kind of pinpoint the location of the enemy's main force before they commit themselves in. So, each team had their lead element out there scouting, and when they couldn't find the entire formation of the opposing side, they just kind of hesitated.
Yeah, and the thing about these strikes is that they spread damage across a bulk of the mechs. So while those percentage numbers do kick down on these mechs, it should be noted that it's probably not opening up any components. Maybe the backs, but none of these players are at a tier where they're going to be putting their backs to the enemies without mistakes being made. Both teams putting down large pulse laser fire on each other. We've got a number of UAVs up here across the center of the map. Airstrikes going out from Ice and Grim pretty heavily on the Marine Mech side. Not doing a ton of damage to the bulk of the forces, but Bear Claw is definitely taking some damage there on the right flank.
Yeah, and also importantly is Isengrim has pushed their entire team into the circle, so they've driven the majority of the Marine Mechs back. Not completely out, obviously, and now the Marine Mechs are rolling around that left flank, so let's see how this evolves.
Yeah, and we've got that rotation going. We've got the Marine Mechs starting to move forward here. We've got the initial engagement, Mech the Dane on point. He's obviously the focus of fire here. Bringing down that first target, first blood goes to Isengrim, and it's back up even 1-1 at this point. We've got Putitangosaurus back here with the large pulse lasers, putting down some Overwatch fire. Overheat there by Ololum. That's not going to be good for Isengrim. He's definitely going to get yelled at. It's even teams now, 2-2 at this point. Now Isengrim's back up again.
We have a team kill.
Team kill. Look at this fire going in against Shoshin from the Marine Mechs. They're definitely focusing him pretty hard. It looks like Isengrim's edged back out on top again for the moment, but this focus fire from Marine Mechs has been pretty significant. And now Isengrim's starting to bring him down one by one. Kincaid's probably going to be the next mech that goes down here in that Cheetah. The Jenner running around pretty much unmolested at this point.
Yeah, and unfortunately for the Marine Mechs, they're down to 2 mechs left, and Isengrim's still sitting with 5 that are relatively healthy. This one's not quite over, but it's about to be.
And it was good focus fire by the Marine Mechs in the beginning there, but Isengrim sort of set the outer limits of the circle, shooting in on it and getting the advantage of not taking damage in the middle. Obviously, Mech the Dane pushed in early there and took a lot of damage from the Marine Mechs, but the rest of the team was able to recover from that and put out a significant amount of fire. And the last kill goes to Merkova, bringing down Tommy the K. It is an 8-4 game in favor of Isengrim.
Look at that cluster of mechs. I mean, they all died within less than 100 meters.
It was right there. It was right there. Batman, talk to us about these damage numbers.
All right, so we're going to start on the Marine Mech side, and you can see it's a pretty even distribution across the team there. Looks like Tommy the K led the team with 320, and Remit down at the bottom at 115, MDM0 at 144. Now, those numbers aren't terribly high, but what it does show is that the whole team was involved in the fight, and it just, it was a fast fight, hence the low damage numbers overall. On the opposing side on Eisen, Mech the Dane, the first mech to be focused by the Marine Mechs, was down at 57 points of damage. It's not bad play, it's simply he was the target. But that's alright, because the rest of the team carried hard. We have Putitangosaur and Shosa Shin Yodama both over 300, and Terragato nearly at 300 as well. So just, a good effort and good teamwork. The team kill that went against Marine Mechs, those are the breaks occasionally, but, that I think was one of the big dominoes there.
And here we are after drop 1. We have Isengrim up 350 reputation points to 100 points for the Marine mechs after drop 1. Batman, I'm bringing up the map strat tool. How did that fight unfold?
All right, so both teams took their Bravo and Charlie Lances for the deployment and took the routes you would expect them to take based on those deployments. Give me 1 second, let me pull it up myself. All right, so Team 1, deploying here and here, and they came in right along this route. The lights broke off and came over here. They had one up here in front, and the rest of them were just kind of holding the ground here, waiting for the heavier, slower mechs to get involved so they could move as a unit and push that fight. Isengrim, deploying Bravo Charlie, came in, and instead of going and camping out on top of the hill where the Space Needle is, like we might have thought, they came around the Fox 5 side and almost formed a firing line between Fox 5 and Gulf 5. I think it was Gulf 5 was where their Hunchback 2Cs were with the long-range weapons, and they just started trading some shots until they were ready to make their move. What I think I saw was the heavier mechs of Marine mechs from Gulf 7, and I'm using the wrong color, I'm sorry, coming back and around this way, and when they did, the majority of Isengrim pushed into the circle, leaving just that one mech for Marine mech still in the fight, or still in the circle, excuse me. Marine mechs counter-pushed in this direction, and the brawl took place right here. It was fast, it was tight, and it was a bloody mess, and that's the kind of fight we like to see in Drop 1.
Absolutely, and again, you called it out, getting less than 60 damage on that first mech the Dane there, getting focused on. That's not a bad thing. In these types of fights, there is a mech that has to be on point. There's a mech that has to take that damage. And a lot of the drops we've seen so far this season, that's been the Hunchback 4SPs, or sorry, post skill tree, that's been the Hunchback 4SPs. You don't often see the Nova being the mech on point there taking that damage, but there's nothing bad to be said about that. And again, I do think that early on, I thought the Marine mechs had the advantage. Isengrim was able to pull back and maintain the outer rim of the circle there, the brawl engagement, putting in that focus fire, and ultimately able to pull it out. And kudos to both teams there, but Isengrim edged out Marine mechs and won this 8-4.
Yep.
So let's move forward and let's talk about Drop 2. So Drop 2, we move from the Domination game mode into the Conquest game mode. Conquest obviously is 5 points on the map. You get ticks, if you will, every second based upon the number of points you control. The team that gets 750 points ultimately wins. Oftentimes what we see in these types of games are a brawl that unfolds or a team getting 3 caps versus 2 caps. Not often does it end up being teams sort of circling around the maps, focusing on the caps. They do get into the fight. Frozen City Conquest, Recon and Force, 2 lights, 4 mediums, 2 heavies, 0 assaults, max 1 of any chassis, 1 duplicate allowed, and the bonus again on this drop is to kill 5 of the enemy mechs. Now Batman, on this, with Division B and what we've seen so far this season, we've seen Isengrim be pretty brawly, we've seen Marine mechs be both brawly and pokey on this map. What do we think is going to happen? I brought up the map strat tool, walk us through it.
Okay, sure. So I think you're going to see Team 2, Isengrim grab Sigma right off the bat, and obviously Marine mechs I would expect to grab Gamma as well. Generally, with some of these higher tier teams playing in these matches, I don't generally see them going for the far points, Kappa and Epsilon respectively, as often, especially with what we think we're observing is a shift towards closer range, more brawl type decks. We're going to continue to try to gather more data on that to confirm that theory, but based on that hypothesis at the moment, my guess is that they're going to stay away from those far points, and instead you're going to see a fight either somewhere in this area, where we used to see most of the fights on the old Frozen City, or else possibly here in the buildings on the 7 line, just depending on which direction the teams try to take the fight.
If you actually look at this map, Batman, it looks like you're drawing some sort of kid smiley face there. If you just put, he's got sort of an off slanted grin there. Yeah, exactly. That's
why
perfect.
So serious?
Why so serious? Absolutely fantastic. So while we're waiting on the teams to get ready up here, they're getting close now. Let's just pop back real quick and look at these teams' percentages on this map. So Team 1, Marine mechs take a ball on Drop 2. They have a 60% win-loss ratio on this, and they've only gotten a 5.17 kill ratio. Well, only, I don't mean to misuse that word, that's actually pretty good, KD ratio. Meanwhile, Isengrim, rolling Team 2 tonight on Drop 2, has a 57% win-loss ratio. So both teams have obviously had some challenges on this map, so it'll be interesting to see how they perform. As you look at the later drops, we definitely have some upward trends towards the Isengrim side from a statistical standpoint, but on this map, it looks like they've both had their fair share of challenges, and it will be interesting to see how this unfolds. Batman, not asking you, we don't pick favorites, we're casting, we're here to watch both teams play, we want to have a good fight, but what do you think is going to happen on this? Who do you think is going to pull it out if you had to be asked?
Okay, well, I'm really going to have to go with data to support my answer because I haven't watched either of these teams often enough to base my answer off of anything else. Just looking at Isengrim's history of struggling, if they've struggled at all, on Drop 2 relative to their success on later drops, versus in the case of the Marine Mechs, this is one of their better drops across their matches they've played so far. So I think it's going to be a solid fight. I'm going to guess that it's probably going to come down to like the last two mechs on either side. We may or may not see a cap race trying to finish this off. Neither team has, a kills average on this map that suggests that they consistently wipe out the opposing side. So we may have an early brawl and a bunch of mechs get beaten down, and then the last couple lights making a scramble for the various points. We watched that Division 1 match just a few nights ago, and we thought that it was going to turn into a cap race, and then they shocked us. So, you never know until you see what they're doing. You never know until you see what they're doing. That's exactly right, sir. I'm also hoping for a good fight here. Hopefully it'll be like the stream the other night where we have a grasshopper versus a light in the last seconds of the fight, right? So here we are. We've got both teams dropping in 5 caps across the map. Most of both teams have 2 caps on their side of the map, being separated by sort of a theta center ravine here, the valley through the middle. Coming in on the Marine Mech side, we have a Nova, Stormcrow, Hunchback 2CA, Arctic Cheetah, Oni-chan, that's an Orion 2CA, a Jenner 2C, and a Nova and an Ebonjag. Looks like they're doubling up on Novas once again. They're built for brawl. What do we have on the Isengrim side? Isengrim has also doubled up on Novas. In addition, they have a Jenner 2C Alpha, an Ebon Jaguar, a Timberwolf, Huntsman Prime, Arctic Cheetah, Stormcrow. It looks, if I had to guess, I think that Ebon Jaguar and that Timberwolf are going to be their range support mechs. So a couple of range support mechs, and the rest appear to me at first glance to be brawlers. That's right. We've got both teams now advancing towards the 7 line. Marine Mechs sent 2 mechs to dive in on Theta. The bulk of their force is setting up over here on the 7 line, getting ready to maybe receive that push, maybe push on the left side of that. Meanwhile, Isengrim also sending up most of their forces into the 7 line. They've got a pretty wide line here with their Ebon Jags, Huntsman, Stormcrow, and Nova slightly advancing into the open ground. You've got this open ground between the two teams here, this sort of no man's land between the two teams as they move to the buildings. And Marine Mechs is moving across it. Here we've got Toaster in the Oni-chan. He is moving up straight into him. No hesitation here. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have a 7-line brawl. I did confirm I'm in Pootie Tangosaurus' cockpit. That Timberwolf is set up to poke. And he's got ER mediums and large pulses. And Toaster goes down early. He was definitely off balance out in front of his team. The rest of the Marine Mechs now getting into the fight. Isengrim, meanwhile, trying to collapse on that push. It's a 1-1 game at this point. Both teams getting into the mix. This is a nasty brawl. Yeah, Shosa Shinyodama also has that poke build similar to what the Timberwolves loaded out with. We've got Bearclaw and the Ebonjag tracking in way behind here. Maybe he's trying to get some long-range poke kills and get him out. It's an even game at this point. Meanwhile, most of the brawl is focused around this building here as the teams are sort of split between these 3 buildings. It's a 3-2 game in favor of Marine Mechs, but we're definitely looking at some damage percentages in favor of Isengrim at this point, I believe. It's a 4-3 game, 4-4. They're just going back and forth here as these kills are winding down. Bearclaw in the back getting these shots on Radiac. He's trying to finish him off. I seem to have some kind of glitch in my that's okay. Tracking tool. We've got the 3 mechs here on the Marine Mech side. Pootie getting in behind here on Bandit, trying to go for the assassination. Trying to get that beard, trim that beard up. Pootie going for the beard trim. And Bearclaw is able to bring that Jenner 2C Ridiac. And they did get Bandit. Yeah, Pootie gets that beard trim. It's a 3-2 game at this point. We've got 2 lights on the Marine. Oh, it's happening so fast. 1 mech left for Isengrim. We're in Pootie cockpit. He is the lone remaining mech for Isengrim, facing off against the Marine Mechs that are out there. Remit is legged, open CT, and Tommy Decay finishing it out.
That's the last two mechs for Marine Mechs, able to finish it off, bringing down Pootie-Tang. He did a pretty good job there, almost finishing off Remit in that RT Cheetah, but Remit and Tommy the K in the lights Marine Mechs, finishing it off and getting that. It is an 8-6 game in favor of Marine Mechs. Batman, talk to us about these damage numbers.
All right, so Isengrim scored the first kill, and they got out there. It looks like they actually got out there with a little bit of a damage lead overall, too. Pootie-Tangasaur, last mech to go down on their team, 543 damage. Mech the Dane down at 178, bottom end of the spectrum, but once again, he was one of the mechs that was focused down early. I think he was the second mech killed on his team. Marine Mechs on the opposing side. Toaster in the Orion 2C. He led the charge, you remember, and he died at 92 points of damage, bottom of the roster, but he did his job. He absorbed a bunch of fire and let the rest of the team close the distance and finish the fight for him. They had almost the rest of the roster all over 200 damage, half the team over 300, and two pilots approaching 5. The same two we talked about before the match. Tommy the K and Bear Claw leading the team in damage, and probably match score. Yes, match score as well.
All right, and we have finished that up after the end of Drop 2. It is Marine Mechs that Cabal with 450 reputation points against Icing. Batman, I'm bringing up the map strat tool. Walk us through, if you would, how that match unfolded.
Okay, sure. So, as I expected, each team went ahead and grabbed the cap point closest to their spawn points. No surprises there whatsoever. What we saw from Isengrim is the majority of their mechs executed this counterclockwise push into the 7 line, and they got roughly to Fox 7 before they made contact. The Marine mechs pushing through Gamma, they allowed, I think it was 2 of their lights to squirrel over here very quickly and get a cap on Theta just to give them a little bit of extra pressure to put on the opposing team. The majority of the team then pushed right through here with the Orion 2C pilot leading the charge. And, you know, as we just discussed, he soaked a lot of damage. He went down early, but by the time Isengrim was done killing him, the rest of the Marine mechs were online and focusing fire. And we had a big fight right here, one of the 2 locations I said it would likely be in, and it was a nasty, nasty fight, and those are the kinds we like.
Yeah, point of note, we did make a slight mistake in the beginning where we called out the wrong teams on the north and south side of the maps. Our apologies. We're usually pretty good about that, guys. So, but as you'll see, the post-game update clearly shows how the teams went, and you can see that the fight happened over here in the Fox line, where often it happens on this map. We've seen some pretty good long-range trades from Delta 6 Echo 6 over to the Fox 5 area, but post-skill tree, there's been a lot of brawl. A lot of teams have been bringing the brawl, and you know, I'm personally happy to see that. I think it adds for some exciting gameplay.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it as well, especially being that you know, you and I, we enjoy a good knife fight as much as anybody else in this game. So
I'm a fan of the fisticuffs. So what can I say?
So as long as everybody else is willing to come in and play our game with us, I'm happy to keep doing it.
Yeah, so one of the things to talk about here too, tonight, you know, we looked at this early on. I'm going to quickly pop back, if you will, just for a moment to the pregame. And we talked about the total number of points that a team can earn, 1,750. So Marine Mechs, there were some questions in chat around who has the advantage tonight. On the last meeting between Marine Mechs and Isengrim brought it home with a 4-1 victory over Marine Mechs. And Marine Mechs, even if they score 1,750 points tonight, you know, that doesn't put them in first place. They're sort of fighting for a third place point victory here. And Isengrim, you know, is pretty well situated in first place. BSK sitting in second place at seven matches played, and Isengrim 7 matches played, only 25 points behind them. It is razor sharp close in first place. So while Marine Mechs and Isengrim aren't playing for first and second place tonight, Isengrim is definitely playing for first place, and Marine Mechs is definitely playing for third place because they're 2 matches back behind Smoke Adders, the team ahead of them. So this match is important, and everyone should make note that just because the numbers don't seem to show that, there is definitely something at stake here besides just the Battle of the Beards.
You know, I'm still not even sure what that means, so I'm hoping eventually you'll explain it to me and the audience. But
There was. I will throw it up on screen very quickly here. So Mech the Dane had made a poster to commemorate this battle. It's a picture of himself with his glorious beard and Bandit with his luxurious beard, and the two of them staring off at each other. Mech the Dane with a grim visage, Bandit with a condescending look of dismissal towards the Dane. So this battle is certainly something a battle for the ages, if you will. We've all been excited to see this happen tonight. So we're getting ready to move into Drop 3 here. It's Season 9, North American Division B, Week 9, MRBCLeague.com, twitch.tv/MRBC League, twitch.tv/MRBC League 2. Drop 3 as we're getting into it. Marine Mechs currently trailing behind Icingrim by 100 points. It's Conquest, Commander Assassination, 0 lights, 3 mediums, 4 heavies, 1 assault. Either team must bring, both teams, excuse me.
Okay, so typically what I see on this map most of the time, and it doesn't seem to change all that much between quick play and comp play, or even between divisions. Team 1 will typically deploy Bravo and Charlie and try to set up somewhere on this ridgeline and get lines of fire towards the anticipated line of advance from Team 2. What we might see on account of this being a commander assassination mission, you might see an assault mech sitting back here in Echo 5 providing covering fire for these mechs on the ridgeline. We did see that in the Division A match earlier just a few days ago. Team 2, in my experience, usually deploys either Alpha and Charlie or Bravo and Charlie, and they will tend to come up and either set back here like so, or if they're being more aggressive, they'll come down this way towards Epsilon. And what they're going to do is look to just gang up on the nearest mechs to their fire position and start to roll this lineup, either in close or possibly just trading pokes at them until they can gain an advantage. You may or may not see a mech, if they decide to throw some of their lighter elements in Alpha, somebody creep up here and try to snag Theta real quick and escape. But given what I've seen from these teams, I don't think we're going to see that initially.
We've got
I think the Battle of the Beards thing might just be an opportunity to put a little bit of extra fun into something that we already enjoy as a group. But one of the great things about this league is the more time we all spend playing with this game with each other and casting these matches and doing the post-match interviews, is you start to kind of get a little bit of a feel of the personalities of the people involved. They're not just gamer tags on a screen and completely anonymous, but you get to know the person on the other side of that machine, and I just think it's fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. This is also for those that may be new to the game, maybe new to also, if you're getting new to comp, a lot of teams, they hold back on comp. They think there's going to be a bunch of these elitists with these egomaniacs and bad attitudes out.
I agree wholeheartedly, my friend.
So we've got Team 1 locked in now. Team 2 is getting ready to locked in. Let's pop back for just a second and look at the statistics on this. So this is Drop 3 we're getting to go into. Drop 3 Canyon Network. And Drop 3 Marine Mechs is an 83% win-loss ratio on this map versus Isengrim on this map. I think they're sitting at around a 71% win-loss ratio. So we've got a higher win-loss ratio for Marine Mechs on this map against Isengrim by about 9% or 12%? Math fail. So will be interesting to see how this unfolds for these teams.
Yeah, I think you know, if past performance is an indicator at all, I think we're going to see the Marine Mechs continue to surge in Drop 3, and then you know, whether or not they can hold on to that momentum, we'll have to find out. But Drop 4 historically has been their weakest drop. So what they really need to do here, they just came off a win in Drop 2. They need to back that up with a second win here in Drop 3, and then if they can just elevate their game a little bit more and somehow manage to secure a Drop 4, which historically they have some trouble with, and also of note, Drop 4 is Isengrim's best drop, historically speaking. But if they can steal that one, they may just be able to steal the whole match.
All right, so it looks like we're still having some audio issues. Apparently, I keep cutting out on the mic for some reason, and I'm not quite sure what's happening. I'm holding on the right button. I'm seeing my mic aux go up, so we'll address this later on, guys. Apologize for the delays here. So we've got Team 1 still locked into Team 2 getting ready to get locked in as we go into Drop 3, MRBCLeague.com, Season 9, North American Division B, Week 9. Marine Mechs versus Isengrim. It's a 1-1 game at this point, but Isengrim has a 100 reputation point lead over Marine Mechs at this point.
So, all right, the teams have locked their positions. They're almost ready to go. Each team has a solo mech sitting in a lance. So Team 1, they've got that solo mech in the Alpha Lance. That leads me to wonder whether or not he's going to make a rush for Theta, which seems risky, or possibly even Kappa, which would be, you know, a surprise maneuver perhaps. In contrast, you've got Team 2, Eisen. They've got a solo mech in Bravo Lance, and the rest are split between Alpha and Charlie. I think that solo mech in Bravo is just to grab Sigma as quickly as possible. I think that's the only reason he's there, and I think the rest of that team on the Team 2 side is probably looking at this C3 to C5 ridgeline as their initial position. We'll see what they do, though. They may just surprise us once again.
All right, we've got both teams ready to go, and we are ready to get dropped into this. So, Batman, if you're talking to me and it feels like I should be responding, you don't hear me, my push to talk key has faded again. Fill the dead air.
I think I can do that.
For whatever reason, somehow the chat room has decided that I have to shave my beard tonight if one of the teams loses. How the hell did that happen?
Did they specify which team?
They did not specify which team, and my wife just yelled at me from the other room that is not happening.
Yeah, sorry guys, none of you outrank Household 6.
That's right. So here we go, dropping into Drop 3. We've got Marine Mechs posting in here on the southeast corner of the map. We've got a Nightjar, Viper, Nova, Ebonjag, Timberwolf, Marauder 2C, Nightjar, and Stormcrow. Bring in the double Nightjars on this. What do we have on the Isengrim side?
Isengrim's running an Ebon Jaguar, Timberwolf C, Marauder 2C for their command mech. Nightjar, Summoner, Viper, and double Novas again. They are consistently sticking with those double Novas. I like it.
I love the Nova, one of my favorite mechs, man. So it looks like Marine Mechs is bringing sort of a poke deck augmented by some brawlers, but by and large, we're bringing that poke. We've got Marine Mechs diving on Theta, Kincaid here diving on Theta, trying to get that point. Isengrim setting up over here on the northeast corner of the map on the pillars.
Yeah, so Marine Mechs did do what I thought they might, and put a couple of their mechs there in the back of that Echo 5 hilltop. That's where there's a Nightjar and an Ebon Jaguar over there as well. The rest of them are on the ridgeline, roughly where I thought they would be. And yep, it looks like Isengrim's initial deployment is also roughly where I thought it would be on the Charlie line. But now that they've figured out what Marine Mechs are up to, it looks like they're starting to consolidate in that direction.
Yeah, Marine Mechs holding pretty steady back here. We got an airstrike coming in, but look at those jets crossing in the air. Great airstrike by Isengrim on Marine Mechs as they hold up behind this D5 pillar here.
Yeah, they got 14% off of that Marine Mech Timberwolf with that strike.
Marine Mechs have a pretty solid consolidation of their forces. Isengrim similarly, but we do have a couple of outliers for Isengrim. Shoshin over here on the left and Terragato over on the right at Theta. Isengrim trying to get up on that cap points to force Marine Mechs out of the pocket that they've set themselves up in.
Yeah, but he wasn't able to take Theta, and he suffered 9% damage, so it looks like he's going to have to make an adjustment there. Another good airstrike by Isengrim against the Marine Mech's position.
Yeah, we've got Isengrim now starting to advance up along the left side of the map towards Epsilon. Good strikes out by both teams. They're doing some damage there, but we're definitely not seeing a lot of focus fire from the team. And Isengrim's taking this corner, starting to slice the pie here, putting down fire on Bearclaw and Bandit in the corner over here.
Yeah, that last airstrike from Marine Mechs just missed the left side of the Isengrim formation. They were just able to back out of the way there.
And we've got the Isengrim mechs now getting out of the ravine, poking up here on the right side. Those brawlers coming in. Mechdane, Marcobra, Rydiak, and Terragato. But Mechdane on point. The rest of his forces behind the rock. He's getting iced out right now. The Beard is going to go down here momentarily. He's able to get out of the fight, share that armor. Now Marcobra coming in. But they have their sights set upon Mechdane, chasing him into the ravine. Putitangosaurus is bringing down MBM. It's a 1-0 game in favor of Isengrim at this point.
Mechdane getting back into the fight, still fighting. Oh,
A 2-1 game in favor of Marine Mechs at this point. They were able to bring down the Beard. We've got that long-range fire we got 2 sets of long-range fire coming in from both teams. Bearclaw, Bandit, Shoshin, and Putitangosaurus from Marine Mechs and Isengrim, respectively.
Yeah, so Isengrim's up a kill right now, but they're a little bit light on the damage remaining.
Yeah, they definitely hurt a little bit more than the Marine Mechs, but with that focus fire, with a few mechs higher up, their big mechs higher up, if you will, they should be able to pull this fight out. But it's not over yet. Marine Mech still has a couple of mechs that are really, really fresh. They can put down a lot of fire. Isengrim down here in this little ravine, not in a great position, if you will.
Yeah, but it's not a terrible position either. I mean, there's not a whole lot of mechs left to surround them with, so what they're doing is they're slicing the pie, as you put it, and taking those mechs that are back there in that corner position and limiting their ability to engage.
You're absolutely right. They're denying their fire by using the terrain to their advantage, and in this type of game, low ground, high ground's always the winner, but in this type of game, low ground can sometimes be advantageous. Lulan pushing in on Bandit in that Timberwolf, but Kincaid getting it behind and putting on some pretty good fire from that Viper. Lulan bringing down Bandit. Now we've got a 4-on-2 game at this point. The last 2 mechs for Marine Mechs trying to do what damage they can, bring down those really hurt mechs, and Bearclaw securing a kill. It's a 3-on-2 game at this point. Bearclaw's pretty fresh at 53%, but the Isengrim mechs, if they're able to get his back, they should be able to finish him off.
He took down another one.
It's a 2-2 game. Hopefully he can twist through this and get those last few shots out to finish off Terragato.
Putitangosaurus just killed Kincaid.
Kincaid killed himself. Now Putitangosaurus and Terragato enveloping Bearclaw. He's got 2 mechs on him.
Yeah, he's in a bad way at the moment.
And we're in Bearclaw's cockpit now, trying to watch him fight through these 2 mechs. And Putitangosaurus bringing him down, taking out that leg. The last 2 mechs for Isengrim remain standing, and they're going to go out and get these caps and win this game. Hell of a fight there. An 8-6 game in favor of Isengrim.
Once again, the cluster of destroyed mechs it's not as tight as it was in Drop 1, but, I mean, everyone was involved in that fight. You don't have any outliers, a grid square away that were just sitting off by themselves doing something stupid. Everyone got in there and contributed. I'm looking forward to seeing these damage scores.
Yeah, look at these this trail of dead bodies here. We've got Tommy, MDM, Ham7, Nori, Mech, Toaster, Marcobra. It's all within about 300, 350 meters of each other yet again. Batman, walk us through these damage numbers. Tell us what we can see here.
Alright, so Marine Mechs, top killer looks like it was Bearclaw. Just before he went down, 724 damage, 5 kills for his team. Kincaid, 539 with the 6th kill. The rest of the team, they still had respectable damage numbers. I mean, even Toaster, 537 damage. They just weren't able to put down the rest of those mechs. On the other side, you've got Putitangosaurus, 698, once again, leading his team in damage. One two other pilots over 400, and the majority of the team over 3. All but one pilot. Mech the Dane going down a little bit early again. You know, he's just a victim of being the point man, I think, but it didn't matter. His team secured the win.
Yeah, great fight by both teams. We came down to those last 3 mechs. A couple of misplaced shots, a little bit of heat management issues there, I think, may have cost the Marine mechs that fight, and that was razor thin close there. So after the end of drop 3, we've got Isengrim 900 reputation to 600 reputation for Marine mechs. Marine mechs not out of this fight yet. Remember, you can get 350 reputation per drop. So even though they've lost 2 drops, they are still in this fight, still have a chance to win this and bring it home for themselves. Batman, I'm bringing up the map strat tool. Walk us through what we saw happen there.
All right, so based on deployments, what we saw initially, we had Isengrim, and they took roughly this Charlie line, ridge line position just until they could pinpoint exactly what Team 1 was doing. Team 1 did exactly what I expected them to do. They set up along this Echo 4 to Delta 5 ridgeline, maybe not quite as far north as I just drew it, but that's the general area they were working with. And then they also had 2 mechs back here in the Echo 5 corner. I believe it was Bandit in the Ebon Jaguar, and then the damage leader whose name just went straight out of my head.
Bearclaw for Marine mechs.
Yes, Bearclaw in the Night Gyre. Thank you. So, you know, once their position was pinpointed by the Ison team, you had the Viper pilot. I'm using the wrong color again. Sorry. You had the Viper pilot come in here. He tried to snag Theta, wasn't able to do it, so he just maneuvered back around and rejoined the team. The rest of the team started to advance down this ridge line, and eventually you saw the 3 mechs that were equipped with more of a skirmishing style drop, and they came around this Echo or this Epsilon side and started pushing fire down the opposing line like this. I'm going to wipe the board, bear with me. So the rest of the brawlers came charging right over the hill like here, and the majority of the battle took place right in this area here. One thing that's kind of important, we talked about the theory of having your Overwatch mechs back here to provide covering fire for the rest of the team sitting on the ridge. Unfortunately for the Marine mechs, the problem with that position is when those 3 heavies came down the ravine from the Epsilon, the 2 Overwatch mechs couldn't get effective fire on them because they were using the low ground to conceal their move, and that let them get clean shots against the rest of the Marine mechs that were up here without any effective return fire coming in from Echo 5.
Another great breakdown by the Batman. Thank you so much for that, sir. Drop 4. Drop 4 is going to be on Terra Therma, the hot map. Drop 4 Terra Therma Conquest, flank engagement, 2 lights, 2 mediums, 2 heavies, 2 assaults, max 1 of any chassis, 1 duplicate allowed. The bonus is to destroy the enemy's team's heavy and assault mechs, so that's 4 mechs you need to kill on one team to secure the bonus. Batman, we've seen brawl from these teams. We just saw Marine mechs bring sort of a mixed poke, mixed brawl deck on that last map. Isengrim also had a couple of poke mechs built out. What do we think is going to happen on Terra Therma? Taking into account what we saw the Division A teams.
All right, so I'm going to briefly recap what we saw the other night from the Div A teams. So it was Dropship 5 that made this counterclockwise move. I'm sorry, I'm having problems. Give me a second.
That's okay, man. I've had mic issues. Apparently my mic's cut out a few times and no one's heard my audio. So it's this is a cast to be remembered for us tonight.
All right, so Dropship 5 made this counterclockwise move from roughly the Delta 8 deployment zone through Sigma, through Kappa, and into this pile of rocks in the Hotel 6, Hotel 7 area. What we had seen from 228 was a push from Gamma up to Theta, and then their light mechs broke off and capped Epsilon and back capped Sigma, while the rest of the team was sitting here on Theta. Now, once Dropship 5 had their location pinpointed, they began to put fire on that team through these valleys right here. And the 228 team, which had been set up for brawl, remember they had 2 assaults that, they had an Atlas and then the Highlander that was configured similar to an Atlas, and they had to push through that fire to try to get at the Dropship 5 team. It didn't work out well for them. I think both of those mechs died with under 100 damage. Now these teams, they're 2 different teams, and they may not want to follow suit there. So given that Marine mechs haven't been able to execute the kill first, cap later mission the last drop, they may go ahead and try to snag these points, maybe get a quick grab on Theta, and then pull back, possibly Echo 7, just, getting lines of fire, Echo 7, Fox 8, they set positions there, they can get Overwatch on Theta and wait for what I would expect, a push to Theta through Gamma from Eisen, and if they can get them set up in a crossfire, they can put a lot of hurt on them.
Yeah, there's a little lip there right in, while I don't normally like the Echo 7 Fox 7 approach because it's a little tight, there's a little lip there right up here in Fox 7. It's sort of a platform. You can oversee Theta from up there, and it has a bit of an incline on it, so you can get up, do some shots, and then pull back into it. But there's a lot of rock traffic through here that really clogs a bunch of mechs up, so often we don't see teams advance up through there, but I definitely have seen some teams be effective in that position in the past. We do have Team 1 indicating ready at this point for the most part. Team 2 is getting ready now. Folks, hang out. We're going to do some giveaways at the end of Drop 5. We want to give the teams that are playing a chance to get in on these giveaways, and we're going to wait till the end of the match tonight to give those giveaways. Let's pop back for just a moment and take a look at the statistics on this. So Team 1, of course, is Marine Mechs the Cabal, and on Drop 4, they have a win-loss ratio of 33%. This is definitely the drop that they have the most challenges with, historically speaking. So I'm not sure if that's going to play into tonight, if they're going to look at that and say, you know what, this is the drop we've got to focus on, guys. Bandit's going to give a pre-game pep talk to the team, get them iced and ready to go. Or if the numbers are going to hold true and they're not going to perform as well as they could on this map. Meanwhile, on Team 2, the Isengrim, this is in fact a map that they are, they are undefeated on. They have not lost a drop in Drop 4 throughout this season across 7 weeks. So this, there's always that time. I think the other night we were talking to Mikado Silla from 228 and we call them the giveaways. Like, don't get into a 5 drop, get 4-1, get 4 up and do a giveaway, right? Let's see if Isengrim is able to hold true to their numbers and keep that 100% ratio going, or if they do a giveaway, make some mistakes and Marine Mechs are able to capitalize on it. So again, going into this is statistically speaking Marine Mech's worst map and Isengrim's best map.
Even so, it's important to point out that right now, this match can still go either way. I mean, if Marine Mechs can get it together and make a good hard push through these next 2 drops, they could conceivably come away with an overall match victory. So I certainly want to see their best on this drop. I want them to pull out all the stops and shock us and take us to a 2-2 drop score going into the final match. I think that would be fantastic.
It appears we've just had in chat the debate between Night Gear or Night Gyre. I like to think of that as the debate between GIF or GIF. The guy that created GIF wants to call it GIF, but we've been calling it GIF for 2 decades now. Don't change the word on us, man.
Kind of like Gauss and Gauss.
Right, yeah. Well, are you German or are you Texan,
You know which one I am.
I know exactly. You know which one I am. We share that same blood, brother. So we got Team 1 is indicated locked up. Team 2 is getting ready. We got 1 mech waiting to go on Team 2, and we're going to be crash and burn here in just a moment. Last night I watched Pacific Rim again with my children, 2 of my boys, and they both eyes locked onto the screen, man. And watching those big mechs stomp around, it got me excited. We need another battle tech / mech movie.
Yeah, but if they're going to do it, they got to do it right, because if they use this intellectual property in this canon universe and they mess it up, the fans will be merciless.
There will be hundreds of upset people. Hundreds.
Well, nobody else is going to see that movie. So
yeah.
They better make those 100 people happy.
That's right, yeah. So again, we're still just waiting on Team 2 to get locked in here. Tonight is the Battle of the Beards, MRBC Season 9 North American Division B Week 9, Marine Mechs the Cabal versus Isengrim. Marine Mechs, of course, led by Bandit B-17, and Isengrim led by Mech the Dane. And once again, here is the poster created to commemorate tonight's event. Team 2 is moving around, getting some lances set. I'm seeing a 35-ton disparity. Team 1 is sitting at 500 tons. Team 2 is sitting at 465 tons. Do you think that's indicative of a cap game being played, or are teams trying to pick those strong mediums and those fast-moving salts and heavies so that they can stay in the fight?
Obviously, when you have lighter tonnage, there's a general propensity to have faster mechs, so it could be an indication that Eisen is going to look for a cap strat. But honestly, what I think it is, I think they're looking to put those faster heavies and assaults on the board and get in close and get the kills, because it's been working for them up to this point.
Yeah, those Novas, bringing those double Novas, I'm a fan. I think the Nova is one of the best mechs in the game. Those arms are a little easy to hit. They're big, giant targets, but the damage output that they can put out is incredible once they're able to get within that 200-meter range. And we've got both teams readied up at this point, just waiting on the call from Team 2 to say locked, and we are good to go.
There it is.
And we are going. We are Crash and Burn Mech Warrior. You know, again, last time I'll say, I just want to apologize for the audio issues tonight, guys. Normally our casts are pretty flawless, and not quite sure what's going on, but we will definitely have this fixed before our next cast.
Yeah, they're usually technically flawless, but, you know, you have me calling female players with male pronouns because I don't know them and stuff like that. So one way or another, we're going to mess something up, but we got to keep it interesting and vary the mistakes. Otherwise, you guys will get tired of seeing the same ones.
Look, it's just because everybody should know who Glory is. Like, everyone knows who Glory is.
Yeah.
So here we go, coming in on Terra Therma, guys. Terra Therma, of course, is the hot map, the hottest map in the game, except for one of the ones in Faction Play. I can't recall which one right now. I think it's Vitric Forge. You've got Sigma up here on the north end of the map. You've got Cap on the west side of the map, Theta in the middle, Epsilon in the east, and Gamma in the south. And the areas of approach that Batman was talking about, the fire lines that we saw, are through this area right here around Theta. Last time we casted, we had the fight happen over here between Dropship 5 and 228, with Dropship 5 setting up in this epic position on the crest here, shooting down those mechs as they round the corner. Looking at the mechs coming in from Marine mechs, you've got a Stormcrow, Arctic Cheetah, Jenner 2C, I believe. Oh, that's an O, sorry. Kodiak 3, Night Gyre, Viper, Kodiak 3, and Ebonjek. Doubling up on the Kodiaks. Have not seen that since the skill tree. What does Isengrim bring into the fight?
So Isengrim, with their lighter tonnage, they doubled up on Gargoyles, so they are bringing those faster assault mechs to the fight. I believe they're here to brawl. So it's double Gargoyles, an Orion 2C, Stormcrow, Arctic Cheetah, Summoner, Nova, and a Commando 2D.
And we've got the Marine mechs jumping on Epsilon and Sigma very early. Kincaid and his Viper making a move towards Kappa, but we've got Taragato in his Commando on the Kappa point right now, or in between the Kappa point, excuse me, and the mech capping on Kappa, which I believe is going to be Lulum.
Kappa is under enemy control.
Neither team exchanging any fire at this point. Both teams getting that cap game going. Marine mechs moving around the north side of the map. And meanwhile, we've got... these mechs are so close, and we've got some exchange of fire finally between Taragato and Kincaid.
Yeah, I was wondering why they hadn't shot at each other up to that point. It was almost as if they didn't see each other.
I do think with the sightlines around this hill that maybe they did not see each other. So meanwhile, we've got the Marine mechs advancing towards Kincaid's position against Taragato's position. Isengrim hovering over here around Gamma, moving up through that Golf 6 rock position. They're right where Dropship 5 was the other night, looking towards Theta. But Marine mechs are approaching from that west side of the map by and large. Looks like maybe
Taragato needs to break contact and get out of there. He's about to be overrun 3 mechs to 1.
It looks like maybe both teams are sort of holding back. Marine mechs have a stationary position here with great sightlines set up, waiting for mechs to approach. We've got Remit, Kincaid, and Tommy the K, four Marine mechs, moving in on Kappa now to retake that position. Taragato falling back towards his lines around the Gamma Theta position.
Yeah, so Isengrim's using the same position that Dropship 5 had occupied. Of course, it looks like they're setting, expecting to make a push on Theta, but at the moment with Marine mechs capping Cap, they're now up 3 caps to 1. They don't have to go to Theta at all, so Isengrim is going to have to make an adjustment to their plan, I think.
Yeah, we've got, and it looks like Mech the Dane and Taragato are trying to get some eyes on Theta to see if they can cap it. Taragato maybe diving out to the east here to grab Epsilon and get that 3 cap back. But to your point, Marine mechs with that 3 cap advantage, they don't got to do anything at this point. They can hold tight and force this Brawl team, the Isengrim team, to move into their guns.
Yeah, Isengrim's got their Commando running around. Looks like he's going to try to cap Epsilon now, which is fine. And it looks like they are now sending their Arctic Cheetah in to try to go ahead and quick cap Theta, but he's going to meet opposition if he stays there very long. Who is that? Kincaid and the Viper?
Kincaid and the Viper, yeah.
Trying to get line of sight.
Yeah, but he's got to get a little bit closer with the range on his weapons. Rediak is going to be able to take this point uncontested unless Kincaid gets a little bit closer. He can use this center point, the cap point itself, for cover and be able to take that cap and pull back. Meanwhile, you've got over there Terragato pulling in the Epsilon cap point from Marine Mechs, going to give a 3 cap advantage back to Isengrim, forcing Marine Mechs to make the move.
And Marine Mechs already have their Arctic Cheetah piloted by Remit, and he is responding to Epsilon. He's going to try to drive Terragato off there, I think.
Taking Epsilon.
Yeah, Remit holding back just a little bit, being a little passive back here. I think he's waiting for Terragato to move off of the position so he can cap it, not wanting to give up that mech. Terragato has obviously claimed Epsilon, is now moving back towards the Fox 8 entrance area to link back up with his team. Marine Mech still holding hard back by the Sigma cap point.
Yeah, it looks like Team 2 is kind of doing a bit of a seesaw motion here. They're just alternating between Kappa and Epsilon. Now that they're holding Theta, they're going to continue to try to just chip away at the cap point lead that the Marine Mechs currently have, but may not be able to hold.
Yeah, and we've got, you called it out earlier, Remit is retaking Epsilon from the Isengrim, and we've got a little bit of engagement over on the Kappa side. It looks like we've got 2 mechs, one from Marine Mechs, one from Isengrim, sort of hovering around the Kappa point. Isengrim now moving in on the cap point, Rediak in his Arctic Cheetah, but we've got Kincaid in his Viper to contest. Wasn't Kincaid just on the other side of the map a few moments ago?
He was on Theta, and he broke away and didn't actually try to contest it. He was gathering intel and then broke contact, and now he's moved over there and he's got reinforcement over there too. So they're going to retain possession of Kappa, at least for the short term.
Well, it looks like Isengrim has gotten tired of this delay, and they are moving en masse to Kappa at this point. Tommy the K is getting a little greedy there, chasing Rediak, and Mechdadane closing in his Nova, getting a good hit on Tommy the K as he tries to run away.
Yeah, I think they have enough speed and terrain to make an escape here, but they're going to lose Kappa in the process.
They will lose Kappa, but as Isengrim stalls their push to take Kappa or moves around the map, watch the positioning on the Marine Mechs. Do they hold stagnant on Sigma? Do they move to the east towards Epsilon? Do they cut down towards Theta? They've got the distance on this team now that they can maintain weapons range and have them walk into their fire. And it looks like Isengrim's decided they don't want to cross that no man's land. Going across this open terrain into that fire line is not where they want to go, exposing themselves on these high ridge lines, and they're cutting back towards Theta at this point as they've gotten their 3 cap back. Meanwhile, we've got a couple of mechs from Marine Mechs pushing in on Theta. It looks like, nope, they've decided to move away, but Kincaid might be continuing to move forward and grab Theta.
Yeah, I think he's going to try to grab it because they saw enough mechs to suggest that the majority, if not all of the Isengrim mechs had moved away from it and could not contest it. So yeah, that's what he's doing.
And we've got this is a classic cap game, guys. We've got neither team really wanting to commit to the fight. Both teams realizing that this match is on the tipping point of this drop, and they want to win this. And so they want to make sure that when they do commit to the fight, that they're committing to the fight on their terms, with their weapons being optimized both from a range and an angle perspective. And we've got Marine Mechs, Tommy the K and Kincaid. They're going to recap Theta. We've got Terragato and his commando looking to respond to that. I don't know if he knows that there's 2 mechs there. He'll quickly see that and maybe decide to turn away. And he has seen that there's this is not a fight he can win, or at least win easily, and he's decided to maybe not push in right away.
It looks like Tommy the K is trying to conceal himself to maybe bait. Yeah, see, they're trying to bait those light mechs into a fight on Theta by making them think that the Viper was there by himself, but apparently now they've decided to forego holding it. Maybe they're responding to what appears to be this push from the Kappa side.
It looks like we have a split push. It looks like Isengrim's sending 4 mechs around to the right side. They've got 4 mechs balled up here over here on the left side. These mechs on the left side are clearly waiting for Mech and his lance to advance up, recap Theta, maybe get a light kill, and push into the fight. That's what I believe is happening at this point. But again, neither team really YOLOing. The caps are getting close though. At 590, almost 600 cap points for Marine Mechs. Isengrim has got to start responding to this, or Marine Mechs has got to make sure they hold that 3 cap. And we've got movement over here on the west side of the map. It looks like the Isengrim mechs have decided it is time to go.
Yeah, I think they were out of time. They couldn't afford to wait any longer.
And Putitangosaurus on the lead there, taking some damage, but again, not significantly hurt. And once those gargoyles get within 200 meters, it is Laser Show City.
Well, Tommy the K is sneaking in behind these mechs. It looks like he's going to try to put down Putitangosaurus.
Shoshin's hurt really bad at this point. I don't know that he's going to be able to live in his engagement. And it's a 1-0 game in favor of Isengrim at this point, but the brawl has started, and Isengrim is optimized for this range of fight. Markova and Putitang should be able to put out some significant damage, but I believe Putitang is sans arms at this point. He is just with the 2 small pulse lasers in his CT.
Bearclaw needs to turn around and put down that gargoyle.
And Markova goes down. Putitangosaurus is on his own, and he goes down as well. The Marine mechs making short work of those gargoyles and not taking a lot of damage in the process. Starwolf is trying to get into the fight in his summoner now with those SRMs, but with those large pulse lasers and the Gauss rifles coming in, I don't know how long he's going to stay standing in this fight. And he goes down. Alolam is coming in now into this fight as well. And it's unfortunate, but the rest of the mechs weren't able to get into the fight in time to make a difference here. Here comes Mech the Dane in the backfield. Is he going to be able to get in and get some beard snipes?
Now this is important. Okay?
We have a Bandit versus Mech the Dane fight right here in the Ebonjag and the Nova.
Break. Isengrim is up. They got 4 cap points right now with only 70 points to go before they win the match. So Marine mechs have got to pay attention to that score count and go decap those points now.
Yeah, if Isengrim's able to die slow and elongate this fight, they should be able. And Mech the Dane bringing down MDM0, going for the beard. This is a beard fight right now, folks. This is what we've been waiting for. And yeah, Bandit with a nasty shutdown there. Mech the Dane focusing that small pulse fire on him. And Mech the Dane overheating. Bandit gets the beard win, but Isengrim wins the battle. That is a 7-5 game in favor of Isengrim. Marine mechs having the kill advantage, but Isengrim winning the battle through that cap game. Batman, tell me what happened here. Look at those damage numbers.
Alright, damage numbers. So on the Eisen side, Terragato and the Commando, the last survivor of the team, only 44 damage, but it didn't matter because he capped 4 points, and that's what won the game for his team. The remainder of the team was all involved in that fight we were watching, with damage spread anywhere from the low of 196 to the high of almost 600 from the Stormcrow of all mechs. The Marine mechs, you have Bearclaw, 642 damage, and Bandit, 680. But it wasn't enough. The 3 surviving mechs they had left could not decap those points and secure the win for their team.
Wow, what a game that was. A little slow in the beginning, of course, playing the cap game like that, both teams trying to find the optimal position for their weapons platforms to force the other team into a mistake. But ultimately that ended up being a pretty good fight, and we got to see what we've all been waiting for. We got to see Mech the Dane versus Bandit. And Bandit, true to form, brought the other guy, MDM0, along with him. And Mech was able to take out MDM, but ended up killing himself in his rush to glory to take down Bandit.
Yeah, in the process of trying to trim his neck beard, he must have slit his own throat.
That's right. It's good. That's good. I want to, again, thanks to the Isengrim team, Mech the Dane folks, for putting out that poster and making this fight tonight a meme, if you will. And thanks again to the Marine mechs for being good sports about it all. Specifically Bandit. He is the target of a lot of this beard talk. So at the end of Drop 4, we've got Isengrim with 3 wins over Marine Mexicabal with 1 win, 1,200 reputation, 825 reputation. Now mathematically, the Marine mechs are only able to get 350 points out of this last drop. That would put them, I believe, at 1,175. So tonight, Isengrim will likely bring this home, but Marine mechs can still force Isengrim into a threat for dropping to second place if they're able to hold Isengrim to a low point victory on this last drop. Batman, let's bring up the map strat here. A lot of running around early on in the map, so we don't need to spend a lot of time talking about that. But let's focus on sort of the end game, how that unfolded at the end there.
All right, so at the end, what you had Isengrim with a secure grip on Gamma. Okay, they had pushed at one point and driven the Marine mechs off of Theta, and then they were alternating on Kappa and Epsilon with light mechs bouncing from one side to the other and really avoiding contact. Isengrim wound up with I think their heaviest mechs over here on this Echo 5 side, just kind of holding just out of line of sight and getting ready to make a push towards Sigma, where the majority of the Marine mechs were just castled up, ready to go. Once that push happened, you had the other elements coming in from Theta as well, all but I believe one mech. I think it was the Commando who just stayed out here and made sure that he got this other point capped and that this point stayed capped. And so it was really a 7-on-8 fight, and the Marine mechs, to their credit, were winning it. They were winning it, and they were winning it convincingly. However, the consequence of the Eisengrim mechs dying slowly was that by the time that Marine mechs were able to secure an irreversible lead in that fight, they didn't have the capacity to go back and decap those points and prevent Eisengrim from winning it on the score cap.
Yeah, that move by Eisengrim, there was some talking chat as it's unfolding right now, and both of us were like a split push. The distances, the terrain you have to go around for a split push to be effective there, it was doubtful. But I think Eisengrim recognized that they could get those cap points, get Theta, get Sigma, get Gamma, and force Marine mechs into a choke position and just die slow or fight slow, if you will, and win that cap game. And that's what we saw happen. Pretty effective move by Eisengrim. I think Marine mechs did a great job. Before the brawl started, they were about 600 cap points. So Marine mechs themselves did a great job of maneuvering around the map and maintaining that cap lead. But Eisengrim closing in at the end there and forcing the win to their side. Great game by both teams. So here we go, moving into the final drop, Drop 5. Drop 5 is on HPG Manifold. Again, the Conquest game mode. In this drop, we have 2 lights, 0 mediums, 2 heavies, and 4 assaults. This is the heaviest drop of the night, heaviest potential drop of the night for the teams. Max of any one chassis, 1 duplicate allowed, and the bonus is to destroy the enemy assault mechs. So they must kill the 4 big, juicy, damage-dealing, tanky mechs on either side to get that bonus. Batman, HPG Manifold. We've seen Brawl. We've seen a little bit of Poke, but what do we think is going to happen here on this map? One of my personal favorites.
Well, Eisengrim's been rolling with Brawl strategies with a little bit of Overwatch for most of the night, and given the way the Theta point is structured in a basement with no long-range lines of sight to it, I would expect them to continue that trend. They're going to go ahead and put, a light mech on each of these 2 outer points, and the rest of the team is going to rush in here for Theta, and they're going to cap it as quick as they can and sit on it, because they'll have a 3-cap lead, which in theory forces Team 1 to come play in the basement at Brawl range. Now, Team 1, they may not choose to bite on that. If they want to take the high ground, which, when we do see those mechs playing the long-range game on this map, it's often, someone up in this area or possibly over here. They may put some mechs up there, and if I were them, and that's the game mode I wanted to go with, or the strategy I wanted to go with, I would use my lights, because I would be expecting the other team to go sit in Theta, and once they do, I'd have my lights break from these positions and go and back cap, assuming I didn't want to brawl as well, which, talking about you and I, we know would never happen.
Never. Let's talk about the other night when we saw 228 and Dropship 5 play on this map, and we also saw this with BSK when BSK played on this map, that fight that happened through Echo 6 and Fox 6. So on the latter of the matches, the BSK match when they came on the Atlases, pushed Fox 6, Echo 6, and pushed hard. That airstrike kill by that Atlas on BSK as he had run out of his weapons. Epic fight there around the Fox 5 gate. And then we saw in the 228 Dropship 5 match, what unfolded is 228 pushed out from the Charlie gate up here into Echo 6. Meanwhile, on the the opposite side, you had some high ground mechs from Dropship 5 here, and here, and ultimately what ended up happening is 228 stalled for a little bit in this area, taking in fire from, they also had, Dropship 5 had their 2 Marauders back here in Theta. And then when 228 actually tried to push up into the fight that was happening here at the gate, the Dropship 5 mechs jumped up on the Echo 6 wall. They had these mechs here, and they had, I think it was 1 more mech back here, so they were completely enveloped in this ball. So that not the best positioning, and Dropship 5 did a great job of sort of luring 228 into that fight. But this position that Batman has marked with the X, that Fox 6 area, that push across, we could also see a fight happen right here as the 2 teams smash into each other from the northeast and the southwest, and we have a fight along this axis.
Yeah, that spot I marked with the X is actually where the 228 stalled place, and while they were sitting there in the open, I think I counted about 5 airstrikes that those 4 mechs that were sitting there took while they were sitting in the open. And it softened them up so much that by the time they made that push all the way around to Echo 6, they couldn't fight off the counterattack. I mean, they moved to a strong position. They just took too long to get there, and that really did them in.
We've got the teams are getting ready at this point. We've got Team 1 Marine Mechs at 575 tons, Team 2 at the Isengrim at 535 tons. Another tonnage disparity in favor of Isengrim, and I do believe that's because, excuse me, my apologies, they're bringing those faster moving heavies and assaults, those brawl mechs. Let's take a look for just a second at the statistics historically on this drop for these teams. So for Team 1 Marine Mechs, they have a 67% win-loss ratio on this map, and opposing that from the Isengrim side, this is again one of the maps where they do pretty well historically. They have an 86% win rate on this map. So this is another one where Isengrim performs pretty well. It does appear, looking at the numbers here, that Isengrim appears to get better as they get more tonnage on their team. And on the Marine Mech side, a counterpoint, if you will, they appear to do, it appears, based upon the numbers, they sort of spike in the middle, and then they do worse as the night goes on. They get in those heavier mechs.
Yeah, but you can't count them out. They're in Division B because they deserve to be there. And, what they're probably going to have to do is talk amongst themselves right now and make an adjustment. The game plan that they wanted to execute is not working out the way they had hoped it would. But, we've seen Isengrim consistently go with fast, brawling style mechs. And if it's worked for them for the first 4 drops, they're unlikely to change it. Certainly the Marine mechs know that, if I can guess it. And so, if they can anticipate what Isengrim is likely to do, then they can tailor their response to that.
Yeah, absolutely, and no indictment against the Marine mechs on my recalling of the statistical data.
No. I wasn't suggesting you were doing that at all. I'm sorry.
Not at all. No, I understand. I just want to be clear for those watching. We're just trying to give some talking points, try to stretch it while the teams get ready in these lobbies. According to the rule set, the teams do have about 15 minutes, I believe, in between drops to get ready. We've not yet seen that in the cast that we've done this season, so teams have been pretty good about being readied up. And even tonight, these teams, quick on the draw, getting their mechs ready, getting going. But there is, I think, probably some locker room talk going into this last drop, some hype, because this is the battle of the beards, right? And we just saw the beards face off, and maybe we'll see another one of those as this happens. Team 1 is indicating locked. We're just waiting on Team 2, Isengrim, to respond in kind so that we can crash and burn mech warriors. And they are, well, they're cocked, but they're not locked yet. Once we see green boards, we'll go here. A lot of comments in chat room tonight, Batman, about the beanie over the headset. I don't know if you were catching any of those.
No, I can't watch that while I'm trying to do the cast, man. I'm sitting on this laptop and I don't really have the capability to be looking at all the different screens. But you know what? It's all good. I tried doing it the other way around, and I find that the beanie gets in the way. When I'm trying to put the headset on my ears, and so I just roll with it this way because this is what's comfortable for me. So, you guys don't like it? Get your own beanie and do it your way.
That's right. And you can get beanies pretty cheap at most major retailers, and even some lesser retailers, in fact. So we've got both teams almost readied up here. This is the final drop of the night. Season 9 North American Division B Week 9. The Marine Mechs Cabal versus Isengrim. Isengrim currently up 1,200 reputation points to 825 reputation points for the Marine Mechs. Isengrim currently sitting in first place in the division. Marine Mechs currently sitting in fourth place in the division. Let's quickly bring that scoreboard up again so that folks can take a look at it. With this map, as this match as it's currently unfolding, and the points for the teams, let's pull that up. Isengrim will put themselves another 1,300, 1,200 points above Blackstone Knights in first place. Marine Mechs currently putting themselves still a little shy of third place, but definitely within striking range, as they have 2 more matches to play after tonight's match concludes.
All right, so just looking at the deployments that the two teams are using, we've got Team 1 with a single mech in Charlie, obviously over there to deploy and snag Epsilon as fast as possible. The rest of the team leaning heavily towards the Echo 7 side of their deployment zone, I'm guessing to push through that Echo 6 gate, which wouldn't surprise any of us. What does surprise me is Team 2, Eisen, did not deploy a single mech in Alpha Lance, so that's telling me that they don't really care about snagging Sigma along the way. I'm kind of surprised by that. I figured part of the strategy would be to get those 3 points, Kappa, Sigma, and Theta, in order to drive the other team into my mechs at Theta. Apparently that's not the way they want to go with it, so maybe they're planning on being even more aggressive, grabbing Kappa and Theta, and then if necessary just pushing into the other team's zone.
Hey Batman, show us, if you will, in the map strat tool what you're talking about in regards to these spawns. We've had a mech with a corrupt fusion drive, and they're trying to get that reset. So while he's doing that, what were you saying specifically here?
Okay, sorry about that. So what we got is we've got Team 1's deployment at the moment as we're looking at it in lobby. They have a single mech in the Charlie deployment zone. They have 3 in Alpha and 4 in Beta. So...
And if you'll notice in the upper right-hand corner, guys, of the map, he's putting those blue dots to indicate mech deployments for Team 1.
Yeah. So the expectation, I'm assuming, is that this solo mech is going to go here, grab Epsilon, and then take a position like so. One of these mechs from Alpha deployment zone will break off to Gamma, and then run and play catch-up, or possibly even jump up on top of this ledge. The rest of this team, I'm expecting to come in on this axis here. Now, what I thought I would see, but didn't, is Eisengrim deploy a mech in Alpha in order to take Sigma. However, they're not doing that. They have 4 mechs in the Bravo deployment zone and 4 mechs in the Charlie deployment zone, which says to me these guys are going to come up here and in, and these guys are going to come straight in, and they're just ignoring Sigma altogether for reasons known only to them. Or who knows, maybe they're going to have that one lone mech that goes and grabs Kappa and comes all the way back to Sigma, but that just seems like unlikely and a big waste of time. So if they're only going to cap these 2 and just ignore Sigma, then they're either hoping to be faster than Team 1 or to just be more aggressive. They might even go so far as to push in this way or counter push this way if Team 1 takes too long to show up in the basement where I would want the fight to take place if I were the brawling team.
All right, another great breakdown. We would normally do a giveaway at this point, guys, as we're dragging a little bit on time here, waiting for the teams to get ready. We've run into a bit of a technical difficulty with one of the pilots. But again, we're trying to wait till the end of the drop tonight to do these giveaways so that everyone can get a chance to win. That being said, I'm going to contradict myself right now, and we're going to move into a giveaway and do one of the 4 giveaways. We'll do 1 now, we'll do 3 more at the end of the cast. So let's get into the giveaway right now. I'm going to bring up the tool. Take just a moment, guys, to load up the viewers from the channel. I'll remove myself and Batman and Moobot from the list, and we will roll this. And I don't know what the prizes are going to be yet, guys. I will announce the prizes to the specific winners. I haven't received the codes yet for the prizes, so we're just going to say that you're going to win something. And once I understand what those prizes are going to be, we will give those codes out. It typically ends up being premium time or a mech bay or 500 MC. But again, I haven't received the codes yet, so I will hand that out appropriately after the cast. And we are rolling for a giveaway. The giveaway to be determined. The winner of this giveaway, please send a message in Twitch, 2L Switchblade, and we'll give you the code as soon as I receive it. And it looks like Gilson, 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 send Switch a message in Twitch, and I will get you the code for that giveaway. I'm still waiting on this last pilot to rejoin the lobby, and then we will get going here in just a moment. Batman, it's, we're 7 drops in ourselves in this season. I know you've had, with your training, with your job, have had some difficulties getting into all of that, but that doesn't take away from the experience that you've had this season. What do you think? How's MRBC League doing this season? I know this is our largest season to date. We've had more teams sign up this season than any seasons past. How do you feel the community is doing? How do you think the comp scene is doing? Let's talk about that for a couple minutes.
Sure, absolutely. I'm going to start talking about North America just because that's the region that, with the teams that I'm most familiar with. I got to say, the league looks really healthy to me. I mean, I'm just looking at the Division A table right now. You've got four teams over there with over 20 drops won, and then of course varying numbers from there. But I mean, the scores across those four divisions are all within about 2,000 reputation points of each other. So there's a lot of competition in that division. You come down here and you're looking at Division B, the one we're watching tonight, and it's the same. You've got three teams separated by 1,600 reputation or less at the moment, and again, the competition is solid among those teams. Our own division, between us and who is this? Steel Union's ahead of us right now. Okay, well that's because they've played one more drop. But we played against Kong just a little while ago, and our reputation difference 250 points. I mean, every single one of these divisions within its own confines is very competitive, and that's a good indication of healthy competitive, a healthy competitive environment. You don't want to see where you've got one team that just runs away with their division every year, only because after a while, it gets a little predictable, perhaps. And who knows? We had, last year we had Imperial, and they went and they won, what was it, Season 7 of MRBC, and then they won Season 8, if I'm not mistaken, and they did the MechWarrior World Championships and won that. And so they decided to take some time off. They're not even competing in this season, and, it's entirely possible that they, as players, suffered some burnout as well. But overall, given that the number of teams involved continues to grow, I think it's a good sign of the health of the competitive scene. And as long as each individual division continues to be competitive, I think that also suggests to me that we're going to have a lot of fun playing this game for time to come.
I agree. I think the game is healthy. I think the league is healthy, and we're going to see this going for quite some time. So we're dropped in here on the southwest side of this map where Team 2 drops in. They've got a couple of entry points that Batman had talked about. We've got the Kappa entry point, and then further south on the other side of the Sigma drop point, we've got another cap point, and both teams can engage here in that Fox 6 area that we talked about. Marine Mechs bringing in an Arc Cheetah, Nightgyre, Jenner 2C, a Kodiak, Marauder 2C, Kodiak, Evajack, and Battlemaster 2C, doubling up on those Kodiaks. What do we got on the Ice and Grim side?
All right, the Ice and Grims once again doubled up on the Gargoyles, so that they're going for those fast mechs. In addition, they have a Jenner 2C Alpha, the energy variant, the Orion 2C, so brawling, Arctic Cheetah, Kodiak 3. I'm gonna have to check that configuration, a Summoner D, and a Marauder 2C.
And,
so very, very brawl heavy deck there.
Yeah, Marine Mechs coming in one of their entry points with the bulk of their forces. They've got their light mechs capping on the outside, Epsilon and Gamma, with their other entry point here on the north end of the map. They've taken the high ground here on the east side of the map. Tommy the K, Nori, Bearclaw, and Toaster setting up Overwatch positions with that long-range fire. Meanwhile, we've got Starwolf in his Cheetah keeping eyes on, and Pootie in his Kodiak putting that counterfire on. We've got a few mechs from Ice and Grim, 4 mechs in fact, in the basement, holding with that brawl position while they try to get that 3 cap, it looks like.
Yeah, so I checked out his configuration. Pootie has the DACA Kodiak, but he's added an ERPPC to the arm. So probably an adjustment made based on the skill tree and the changes that came with that. But it's not a brawl mech, but it's a good fire support mech for a brawl team, I think.
And it looks like Ice and Grim decided not to get the Sigma cap point, and Marine Mechs have taken this high ground position, but they've put themselves within 300 meters of Ice and Grim. Ice and Grim smells blood. They are pushing in now, pushing this high ground, getting the brawl going.
Yeah, Marine Mechs is responding with some good quality airstrikes, though, so they're definitely trying to stall that push as best they can.
And Mech the Dane appears to be the focus for Marine Mechs. He's down to 35%. Tommy bringing down Mech the Dane. Bearclaw, however, appears to be the focus for Ice and Grim as they try to take out that killer that has been doing so much damage tonight for Marine Mechs. There's still some cap game going on. Marine Mechs with 2 mechs on the outside getting those caps. It's a 1-1 game right now, tied up, but Marine Mechs working on the caps. Ice and Grim focused in on the brawl, doing a lot of damage to these Marine Mech poke mechs.
Yeah, unfortunately for Marine Mechs right now, with those 2 mechs out there playing the cap game, they've effectively reduced their team to 2-on-7 in the brawl. I don't like that decision in this context. I mean, there's too much time left on the clock to abandon the rest of your team like that, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a 7-on-1 game right now with MDM 0 alone against the bulk of the Brawlers, and he goes down fairly quickly. You've got the 2 remaining light Marine mechs outside trying to get those caps, taking Kappa, maybe moving around a Sigma. But we've got Ice and Grim. They've still got most of their mechs on the field. Their Archer Cheetah's down at 43%. Their Jenner is pretty fresh at 95%. And the bulk of their forces are still pretty fast mechs, with most of them moving around the 80 kph speed, 80 to 87 kph speed.
Yeah, Isengrim definitely has a few mechs that are hurt badly enough that those 2 lights could conceivably pick them off. But I don't think they're going to be able to sustain an attrition battle against the remaining mechs of Isengrim. So they're really going to have to evade and hope that they can, maybe if they can pick off just the light mechs and the light mechs only without losing a leg in the process, they may be able to win this on caps. Otherwise, I think they're going to get pinned here in a moment. You see, Isengrim's got 3 mechs sitting in the vicinity of Theta, 2 up top with eyes on that southern gate, and they're just waiting to figure out where those light mechs are.
Yeah, it looks like Kincaid and Remnant are now moving towards the center, with Kincaid taking the high ground in his Cheetah and Remnant in the low ground. With the 4 cap, every 4 seconds or so you're seeing, or 2 seconds or so, you're seeing 4 ticks go up. So it's going to be a long slog for Marine mechs to pull this back. With Isengrim, with the number of mechs on the field, they're just splitting out 2 mechs on Kappa, 1 mech on Epsilon, 1 mech on Gamma, and there are 3 remaining mechs in this fight against these lights. Shoshin in that Oni-chan, Remnant bringing down Puditang in the basement in that Kodiak. Now we've got the 2 lights focusing in on Shoshin in the Orion. He is in trouble, I believe, with these 2 lights. They're pretty fresh in this fight.
Yeah, but he's got support from that Marauder 2C right there, so, I mean, I don't think they're going to be able to take this engagement. They've just split mechs between them.
One more kill, though, 4 Marine mechs, though. Not a bad, coming in 3-on-2 and getting 2 of those kills down. Not a bad job by Marine mechs.
Yeah, but Rimit's down to 39%. It looks like they've taken a torso off of him, and he's not going to be able to win this duel against a fresh Jenner with the assault mech there to support it.
Yeah, and here comes Radiac getting the kill, and Isengrim bringing it home with an 8-3 victory, winning Drop 5 HPG Manifold in the Battle of the Beards. Batman, damage numbers, let's talk about it.
All right, we're going to start with the Marine mech side. Everyone was contributing. Remit was the last guy to go down. He only put up 160 damage, but that's because he was on the cap mission, so it's not really a shock. He did manage to squeeze 2 kills out of that 160 damage, so he was very efficient with the little bit of fighting that he did do. The rest of the team had damage going up from there up to a peak of 500 for Toaster in the Kodiak. On the Isengrim side, you had, looks like Starwolf at the bottom end of the spectrum at 121, also most likely playing the cap game. All the way up to, they had 3 mechs that went over 500 damage, Putitangasaur in his Kodiak, capping them out at 718. So everyone contributing. I think really the difference was the Marine mechs sending those 2 mechs off to play the cap game just a little too early, and being down a mech when they did so really made them down 3 for the remainder of that, what wound up being a very short fight.
All right, so as we get back into the lobby with the scores updated at the end of Drop 5, Isengrim, 1,550 reputation points to 900 reputation points for Marine mechs, bringing it home, winning the Battle of the Beards, putting themselves further out in the lead in first place for Division B North America. Marine mechs with that 900-point win put them a little bit closer to the third place team, but unfortunately what they really needed tonight was the 1750 win in order to put themselves within striking distance of that third place. 373 Winged Viper Cluster Smoke Adders currently in third place with 1,575 points. Marine mechs behind them at 8,825 points. Meanwhile, Isengrim extending their lead in first place over Blackstone Knights, putting them at 12,250 reputation points with 8 matches played. Blackstone Knights still having only 7 matches played. We're getting players from the teams into the lobby now for a post-game interview. While that's getting set, let's do one of our remaining 3 giveaways right now. I'm going to bring up the tool. We're going to roll this. We're going to give away. The prize is to be determined. Once I get the codes, guys, you will get that in response, the message that I send back to you. But let me get this going right now. Got to remove myself, Batman, and Gilson, since Gilson just won something from the list. Can't win anything twice. Sorry, guys. We've only got a few codes to give away, and that wouldn't be cool, man. All right, moving Moobot, and got to find that Gilson guy, and then we are rolling for a to-be-determined prize. Rolling now. And here we go, giving away the second of our 4 giveaways. As soon as this giveaway is complete, we'll start our post-match interview with the teams. We've got them in the room with us now. Let's finish this roll, and we will talk to these teams about the Battle of the Beards and how they felt it went tonight. As it rolls. And here we go. It looks like Agathis Prime winning the second giveaway of the night. Agathis Prime, send a message to L Switchblade in Twitch, and we will give you that code for a to-be-determined prize. So, we've got with us in the lobby right now to chat Bearclaw from the Marine Mechs, Mech the Dane, and Pooty Tangsaurus from Isengrim. Gentlemen, what a show tonight. Thank you so much for the Battle of the Beards and the match that went on. Let's start with Isengrim. Isengrim, going into this match, you guys were clearly ahead in the standings over even the closest team. How did that influence your practice, maybe your thought process, or even your mental state going into this drop tonight?
Well, if you've been watching the scores in our division, like, us and BSK are neck and neck. So we can't give anything. Like, we can't we have no cruise control. Anything anybody takes from us could ultimately be given back to BSK. So there is no, we just got to show up and win. Like, we need to show up and we need to win big, or it's not going to be enough. And I mean, like, tonight, it still might not be enough. It's so close between us and BSK. So, and then there's also skill tree as well. So that just threw everything, a lot of wrenches. A lot of people have been trying to relearn the game. And there's been a lot of players and teams who've been kind of burnt out from the game after skill tree, relearning it, dealing with it. I think a lot of people rather play other games. I mean, that's not everybody, but I'm definitely getting a sense of that from a lot of competitive players within my team and with other teams. So just keeping any kind of momentum right now is really hard.
Yeah, we've noticed that in other divisions too. Our team as well has had a bit of a dip in, let's say, activity in the game. We do still feel strong about the game, and I'm happy to see where it's at. Let's switch it over to Marine Mechs. Bearclaw, you guys coming in this with 4th place, having just to do very well tonight to put yourselves in striking distance to that top 3 finish. How did that influence what you guys were doing this week and getting ready for this match? I'm going to go with, no, we got a comment.
Oh,
all right.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. I wasn't paying attention. But, yeah, it was really frustrating for a lot of us in that when the meta shifted and changed, like, a lot of decks that we haven't seen before are starting to show up, builds and whatnot, stuff like that. We're noticing a lot of things are not dying as quickly as they used to, and it's really thrown us through a loop, especially Bandit. He's probably taken it the worst, but, yeah, we've struggled, I guess I can say, honestly. It's been a bit of a rough patch for us.
Yeah, even that being said, you guys clearly showed up to play tonight. That drop 2 victory you had on Frozen City, I know it came down to the wire there, but you guys came all out and pushed into it, adjusting, from my perspective, quite well to the drop deck that Isengrim put on the field. So what do you guys think that the meta has shifted towards the brawl, and either team jump in and answer here, or is it sort of a brawl augmented with a bit of a poke Overwatch? What do you guys think?
I think if you watch any of the higher divisions, any of the big name teams that are fighting it up, duking it out in Div A, you can definitely see that there is a gravitation towards a mixed deck. Laser Vomit Brawl, or Laser Vomit even Ranged, which is something we sort of saw SJR roll 1. So, and I think even before Skill Tree, you saw a little bit of the mixed range decks that were bringing like the Brawl Novas with the 12 SPLs, but then they were still having a decent amount of Overwatch of Night Gears and things, and so it wasn't new, but I think the Skill Tree accelerated that movement, and so I think right now the mixed deck is probably the most powerful deck. Running an all brawl deck like Isengrim's used to or known to is pretty rough to do. It's easy for them to capitalize on the weaknesses of having only one range. and I think that's going to continue. We'll see though with the drop of Civil War, that might change again, and then who knows what's going to happen.
So let's talk very quickly then about let's talk about the drop of the night from our perspective. Let's talk about drop 4 Terra Therma. So a lot of tactical positioning by both teams there early on. Bear Claw, was the strategy going into that drop to maintain that cap advantage and to force Isengrim to come on your lines? That's what it seemed like watching. But what was your strategy, and how do you think it went for you guys?
Our strat for Terra Therma was basically to set up a receiving line and have our lights do all of the capping with, help from a Viper, and then Stormcrow as extra, I guess. But yeah, it was basically us setting up outside of Theta to receive a push we, I guess, anticipated. But yeah, things started to unfold terribly because our lights, I guess, were in bad places. Remit got picked right at the beginning of that push, and that did not go well during the late game, as we had routed a few of Isengrim's mechs, and now we had to decap, and a few bad calls were made on my part and other people's parts as to, when we should go cap and why we should go cap. Like, for example, I said lights go cap, and I forgot Kincaid was in a medium, and Kincaid said, oh, I thought I was supposed to go cap too, but I'm not a light, so I didn't do it, and stuff like that. Bad calls make everything go bad really quickly. But yeah, it started out great, and then it just started to unfold very badly for us near the end.
We had that same mistake happen. What we've said is a standing order that if I say lights go cap, I include pseudo lights. So your Vipers, your Cicadas, those mechs that really are lights but aren't lights, they get included in that call, so that I don't have to try to differentiate as I'm trying to manage everything that's going on. So we've definitely seen that, and can certainly sympathize with that. So Mech the Dane, Jarl, as you guys were pushing in, did you Jarl, Nightgyre, Nightgear, Jarl, Jer, Ginga, Alfrek, whatever. As you guys were pushing across into that Sigma point, were you trying to get the caps and die slow, or were you trying to win it and then go out and cap? What was your thought process on that push there into that Sigma line?
I wasted too much time. That was I made a tactical. I wanted to know where their main team was, and their main team was so well nestled, and they had essentially three lights, and we only had two, that we could never penetrate deep enough to figure out where they were. I should have just realized that even though I didn't know specifically where they were, I knew I had a good idea of where they were based off of where those lights are coming from, and I should have moved earlier. By the time we were pushing out of desperation. We realized that the capping game was about to go very south in their favor, and so we had people capping all over the place. We had split. Our mediums weren't with the rest of our body, and we just had to throw everything we had. And it was really goal one is survive long enough and keep them pent up long enough that we could win the caps, maybe take out their lights. I know I legged an Arctic Cheetah early on in that fight, and so that helped. We couldn't have lights back capping. And then goal two was kill enough of their mechs that we get the bonus. And then other than that, just freaking try to win.
So did you notice as that fight was winding down around Sigma that it was you versus MDM and Bandit? Did that register with you at all?
Oh yeah, I got there. I turned the corner. I saw 100% healthy Ebon Jaguar, and I was like, "Fuck." I dropped a strike on him, and then I knew what was going on, and I was just trying to live. And I did kill myself there at the end. I probably could have not done that, but we're just trying to win by caps. That's what we're trying to do. All in
service of the game. Bearclaw, when that fight was going on, what were the comms like on the Marine Mech side? Was it shouts of exclamation like, "We've got the day"? What was going on for you guys?
Well, most of it was like, when they started pushing, I looked up at the caps and I was like, oh shit, we're starting to lose caps. I'm starting to see the things go red. So first thing in my mind is, go cap, lights go cap. And I say it over and over again. But obviously I didn't know one of our lights had got capped or killed before the fight had even started, and I was just trying to wrap my head around what happened. And then I realized that our lights were just, they're very soft-spoken, so it's hard to tell what's happening when shit goes bad, and it's really rough. But I mean, we did the best we could. I mean, Kincaid got confused, but that's all right. I mean, shit happens. Honestly, it was a big mess, a big mess of comms, and some of the stuff that was really important got clouded out by me and others.
Well, I want to give you guys a chance for some closing statements. We're going to do 2 more giveaways, but in prior to ending that, Isengrim as the victors tonight with 1,550 reputation points. Anything you want to say to the audience, to the MRBC enthusiasts, or the opposing team?
My computer broke, my main computer, so I can't even play a Warhorn right now, which is really depressing. And that's also the reason why I haven't been able to make any more videos, because if anybody watched the SA versus Eisen match, it crashed during then, and since then it's deteriorated to unplayability. But that's why there has been more videos. That's why I can't even do a sweet Warhorn. If anyone's wondering, I appreciate the community. I like all these teams. I was excited to play Bandit's team one more time. I don't know if we'll ever meet again. What holds in the future? It's exciting to do. I'd like to thank Val. He's always super important to everything Isengrim does. He's a huge asset. And I want to thank Juju for saying cool things to me at the start of this match. So if he's listening to that, thanks Juju, thanks Val, thanks my team. Thanks Marine Mechs. That was such a tight match. That was so hard. I was screaming at people. I was throwing chairs. So, thanks everybody.
Awesome,
also,
thank you. Oh, go ahead, Pooty.
#Team File Titan for the bet that's going on.
All right. Bearclaw, any closing comments from Marine Mechs to the viewers or to the opposing team, the Isengrim, your victory or your the games tonight equaling out to 900 reputation points?
I guess the only thing I can say is there were some really smooth moves that we did not expect and see coming from Isengrim. Like a lot of clever capping and killing of specific mech that was just happening, at the instant something else happened. I thought that was really interesting.
Thanks.
But yeah, other than that, good game, and that's about it. I have nothing else.
All right, well, again, thank you from both Batman and myself to you guys. Classy gentlemen, good sports all around, and we appreciate the fantastic show you did. We're going to roll in now to do 2 giveaways, so if you guys aren't in Twitch, jump over to Twitch real quick. I'm going to change screens and do these last 2 giveaways. Batman, any closing words for our teams?
I just want to say thanks for the match, guys. It was a pleasure to watch. It was a joy to see the process that you guys are using to attack the new meta post skill tree, and just a pleasure to be a part of it. So thanks for letting us host.
Thanks. That's cool. Hey, thanks for casting us. Thanks for stepping up, Batman and Switchblade.
Yeah, we actually really enjoyed doing this. It's really good when we got teams. Thanks to you guys for building the hype. The Battle of the Beards that got a lot of the community folks. There were people in chat tonight who I don't think watch competitive MechWarrior very often, but they were in here tonight watching the game, and that was really incredible to see, and the questions they were asking. So I do think that sort of community outreach helps the game. So glad to see that.
My team won't let me make videos anymore to hype up matches, because every time I do, we lose.
Well, we're rolling now for the 3rd giveaway. Again, it's a to-be-determined prize. Once I get the codes for these prizes, I will send that along to the winner in the private message. If you are the winner, please send a private message to L Switchblade in Twitch, and I will get you that code as soon as I procure it from NGNG TV and Bandit. And it looks like Toaster from Marine Mechs, winning the role on this 3rd round of prizes. Rigged. #rigged. So let's remove Toaster from that since he just won a prize, and we will roll for the last prize here.
What do I have to type to?
Just being in the Twitch channel is good enough.
Okay.
And I think you are in the list. No, I'll reload it because I don't see in the list. So reloading now. Add viewer.
Yeah, it's not saved on this computer, so I wasn't there.
All right, we are rolling now for this last giveaway. Again, to be determined. If you are the winner of the drops, the roll, send a message to Switchblade via Twitch, and I will get you the code along with the prize as soon as I receive it. Thanks again to MRBCLeague.com, NGNG TV, PGI, and MWOmercs.com for allowing us to cast these games, have this fantastic community, and really enjoy ourselves as we battle it out in giant, stompy robots in the inner sphere. Kyle 1-1. Kyle 1-1 is the winner of the roll for the 4th giveaway, and that's going to do it for our giveaways tonight, guys. Again, I want to thank everyone for coming out and joining the show. Here we are one more time looking at the post-game wrap-up. Marine Mechs holding tight to their 4th place standing. Ice and Grim extending their lead over Blackstone Knights, but again, Blackstone Knights have still another game to catch up. A maximum reputation value of a match being 1,750 points. They are still within striking distance of first place. So as Mech the Dane had stated just a little bit ago, it is still tight. It is still anyone's game. Stay tuned. MRBCLeague.com. I'm out Switchblade with my co-caster.
That's me, Batman.
Thanks again, guys. Crash and burn, Mech Warriors.